So you're thinking about buying or selling a home. It's a huge deal, right? And let's be honest, it can feel like a total maze. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be so intimidating. What we're going to do here is give you a clear, simple roadmap to guide you through the whole journey. Let's dive in.
And hey, if you're feeling a bit confused, you are definitely not alone. As real estate pro Scott Kelsall says, the whole thing can be baffling. So think of this as your personal 101 guide. We're here to pull back the curtain and show you how it all works, so you can feel confident whether you're on the buying or selling side.
All right, let's kick things off with the seller's journey. If you're looking to put your house on the market, it's so much more than just sticking a sign in the front yard. There's a real strategy to get from for sale to sold, and it all starts way before anyone even knows your home is available. That whole journey really breaks down into these 7 steps, and I gotta tell you, that first one, preparation, it is everything. This is where you really boost your home's value. We're talking about the smart, high-impact stuff. A fresh coat of neutral paint, decluttering like your life depends on it, and seriously punching up that curb appeal. This is not the time for a massive kitchen overhaul you won't get your money back on. The goal is simple. Make it easy for buyers to see themselves living there. That's what gets you great offers fast. Now, it's really important to remember that this whole process isn't just a series of handshakes. It's all built on a legal foundation. You're going to see documents just like this listing contract. These are so crucial because they spell everything out in black and white. What the agent does, how much it costs, all the terms. It just protects everybody and makes sure you're all on the same page from day one. Okay, so we've walked through the seller's side. Now let's flip the coin. Because for every person prepping a home for sale, there's a hopeful buyer out there getting ready to find their perfect place. And their journey is just as important. The buyer's path also has 7 steps. It starts with preparation, figuring out what you want and need. But step 2, financing? Oh, that is the real game changer. Seriously, getting pre-approved for a loan isn't just a good idea, it's basically your ticket to the game. It tells you exactly what you can afford, and more importantly, it shows sellers that you're a serious, qualified buyer when you find the one.
Okay, so we've got our roadmaps for both buyers and sellers. Now it's time to zoom in a little bit and talk about the language of real estate. Understanding these key terms and who does what is going to make your whole experience so much smoother.
This is probably the most important thing to get your head around. Who works for whom? A seller's agent, sometimes called a listing agent, has one job: to get the absolute best deal for the seller. That's it. A buyer's agent, their loyalty is 100% to the buyer. They're in your corner, fighting to get you the right house at the best possible price. Now, sometimes you might run into this interesting situation called a dual agent. This is one person representing both the buyer and the seller in the exact same deal. As you can imagine, that's a tricky balancing act. The agent can't really advocate for one side over the other. That's why it's a special case, and it absolutely requires written permission from both parties before it can happen.
So, the million-dollar question: how do all these agents get paid? Well, typically the seller pays the commission, and it comes right out of the final sale price. That total amount then gets split between the 2 brokerages, the one for the seller and the one for the buyer. It's the most common way it's done, but pretty much everything in real estate can be negotiable.
You've heard the terms, right? Buyer's market, seller's market, but what does that actually mean? Well, it all comes down to a single key idea: inventory. It's just a fancy way of saying how many homes are for sale versus how many people are buying them. Honestly, it's the #1 metric for telling you what the market feels like right now.
And this chart makes it super clear. If there are less than 5 months of inventory out there, that's a seller's market. Lots of buyers, not enough houses, sellers have the power. If it's more than 7 months, that's a buyer's market. More houses than buyers means buyers get more choices and more room to negotiate. And that little sweet spot in the middle, 5 to 7 months, that's what we call a nice, balanced market.
Wow, we have covered a lot of ground. We've looked at the different paths, we've decoded the jargon. Now let's pull it all together and make sure you've got the most important takeaways for your big journey.
So here's your cheat sheet, the 4 things you've absolutely got to remember. First, buying and selling aren't just one moment. They're a process with a bunch of steps. Second, always be clear on who your agent is actually working for. Third, that word inventory, that's your key to knowing who has the upper hand. And finally, remember that this whole thing is built on legal contracts that are there to protect you.
So there you have it. You've got the map, you know the route, you know who the key players are, and you know the rules of the road. With all this in your back pocket, there's really only one question left to ask. What's the most important first step that you're going to take on your real estate journey?